African continent has the widest variety of natural wonders, animals, and plants. The diversity and variability is so immense, you would need a lifetime to explore it all. In this video, we will discover 20 of these natural wonders in Africa. But before we dive in, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you stay updated on our new uploads. So, in no particular order, here are 20 natural wonders that would amaze you in Africa. Number 20. Okavango Delta, Botswana. The Okavango is an extremely large inland delta formed by the Okavango River, colliding with a tectonic trough in the central point of the Kalahari. Unlike deltas that flow out to sea, being inland, the water here evaporates, all 11 cubic kilometers of it, over a 6,000 to 15,000 kilometer square area. The rest flows into Lake Ngami on the eastern side of the delta. In 2014, the delta became an official UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's one of the biggest deltas in Africa. What makes this place so special is the fact that it has incredible endemic biodiversity, since its position near the equator has meant that it has escaped mass extinctions caused by the last few ice ages. 19. The Great Migration, Tanzania. You may have heard of the Great Migration, as it has been featured on numerous wildlife documentaries, such as the BBC's Africa series. But to see this with your own eyes is something very special. 1.5 million wildebeest, 200,000 zebras go on a 2,000-kilometer journey through the hills, woodlands, and vast plains of the Serengeti and Maasai Mara Reserve in Kenya. Life for them runs in cycles of mass migrations every year as they follow the rains, and thus the water that gives them vital sustenance to survive. In May, the rains end in Serengeti, and the migration begins to the Maasai Mara, where water is still plentiful. Then the migration returns north to the Serengeti in late October, when the rains begin to subside in the Maasai Mara. Number 18. The Blythe River Rift, South Africa. The Blythe Rift is probably the most beautiful rift in the world that stretches for 25 kilometers to the north of Drakensberg. It certainly is the biggest green canyon on Earth. Lush foliage covers the precipitous red sandstone cliffs. Besides the thick forests, the canyon is also home to various species, hippos, antelopes, and numerous primates. It also features several waterfalls and viewpoints. Number 17. Namib Desert, Namibia. One of the most fascinating views we have ever seen is found in Namibia, where the Namib Desert meets the Atlantic Ocean. However, there is no other way seeing it but from the plane. The vast desert sprawls for thousands of kilometers before it drops into the cold and tempestuous waves. However, there are dunes that can be approached on tour, and also by Kolmanskop, a ghost town ruined by the desert, which is today a popular tourist destination. Number 16. Underwater Waterfall, Mauritius. The remote island in the Indian Ocean, 2,000 kilometers away from Africa, is a very attractive tourist destination. The underwater waterfall, located on the southwestern shore, might serve as a signature of Mauritius. It isn't an actual waterfall, but an optical illusion. The sediment of sand and silt create this dramatic sight. The reason for this is that the island is relatively new, and a formation of it is still present, causing an underwater slope. Number 15. Ngorongoro Crater, Tanzania. Ngorongoro Crater is a 600-meter deep, 300 square kilometer volcanic crater, the largest flooded crater in the world. At 20 kilometers across, it's easy to see why this is becoming more and more popular every year with safari goers. But stunning views aside, it's one of the best places to see the Big Five in Africa: elephants, lions, leopards, hyenas, as well as wildebeest, buffalo, zebra, cheetahs, jackals, and bat-eared foxes, as well as over 400 different species of bird. In addition to the wildlife, walking, trekking, and mountain bike riding are all available in the wider conservation area. Number 14. Mount Nyiragongo, Democratic Republic of the Congo. An active volcano is famous for housing the biggest lava lake in the world. The volcano slopes are steep and lava is very fluid, thus enabling it to flow in high velocity when it erupts. However, the lava lake is not constantly present. It takes years to form, and after that, it's a question of days when the walls of the crater will crack and the lava will erupt. Number 13. Sossusvlei, Namibia. With its iconic red sand dunes that are constantly molded into different shapes and patterns by the wind, Sossusvlei is one of the most photogenic wonders of Africa. The sand dunes are in fact some of the largest in the world, and the salt and clay pan at the end of the Tauchab River is where Sossusvlei gets its name from. The iconic red dunes of Sossusvlei are formed through a geological process that has been taking place for millions of years. The red sand goes down the Orange River and then flows into the Atlantic Ocean. However, due to the power of waves and the tides of the Atlantic, the red sand is carried north and eventually ends up being deposited back onto land. From there, the west winds carry the sand back inland, and this is what forms the dunes of Sossusvlei over time. Namibia has a very dry climate, and thus the Tauchab rarely flows as far as the salt and clay pan. Number 12. Kalahari Desert, South Africa. The Kalahari Desert stretches across most of Botswana and Namibia, but some of it is located in northern parts of South Africa too. The total area stretches around 900,000 kilometers square. However, technically speaking, it is not a desert as it receives 5 to 10 inches of rainfall annually, but the sandy soil absorbs and filters the rainwater quickly, so it simply appears as a desert. But really, it is a semi-arid savanna with acacia trees dotting the landscape. Indeed, there are some parts of the desert where small lakes form, which attracts elephants and flamingos. Despite it being so dry, the desert offers numerous species rampant to the area refuge, such as the Kalahari lion, the South African cheetah, and the African leopard. The people that live here are known as the Sands people. They've been living in this semi-arid desert for an estimated 20,000 years. 11. Riverfish Canyon, Namibia. The largest canyon in Africa and the second largest in the world, this is simply a must-see attraction in Namibia. At 550 meters deep, 27 kilometers wide, and 160 kilometers long, the best way to experience it is undoubtedly by hiking through it. Luckily, there is a trail that takes you through 85 kilometers of it. Be warned, however, this is a tough hike, and it's only realistic to complete this adventure between May and September, when it is at its coolest temperatures. Outside of these months, it is searing hot. Number 10. Atlas Mountains, Morocco. The Atlas Mountains in Morocco have so much to offer: mountain hiking, trekking, Berber culture, and even skiing. Yes, this is one of a handful places where you can go skiing in Africa. Berbers have inhabited the Atlas Mountains for 5,000 years, And if you want to see their authentic culture and how they live, well, numerous tour operators are on offer to help you arrange trips to stay with them. 9. Serengeti, Tanzania. Possibly one of the most famous natural wonders in Africa, the Serengeti embodies what people imagine Africa to look like: seemingly endless grassland plains, savanna, forests, and woodlands, spanning an area of 14,750 square kilometers. The Serengeti has been featured in numerous wildlife documentaries, including the groundbreaking BBC's show Africa. Here you can be almost guaranteed to see the Big Five: Maasai lions, African leopard, Tanzanian cheetahs, African bush elephants, African buffalo, Serengeti wildebeest, and the rarer eastern black rhinoceros are all here on offer. Nile crocodiles and hippos can be found in abundance in the savanna, the Western Corridor region, as well as patas monkeys in the forests that sweep the riverbanks. Number 8. Masai Mara, Kenya. The Masai Mara National Reserve is a game reserve that borders Tanzania and its Serengeti National Park, which is essentially a continuation of the Mara. The Masai Mara gets its name from the Maasai people who inhabit this area, as well as part of neighboring Tanzania. Mara means spotted. It's internationally famous and has been featured in numerous documentaries, mainly because it has a huge population of Maasai lions, African leopards, and Tanzanian cheetahs. You can also see the infamous Great Migration every year from July to October, when the wildebeest, zebra, and gazelle head south to the Serengeti, looking for greener pastures. One great thing about Mara is that rangers patrol the reserve constantly, and poaching is almost unheard of, which is sadly not the case in some other parks and reserves. This has led to the reserve having such a wonderful diversity of animal life, overshadowing in many ways the neighboring Serengeti. 7. Great Rift Valley, Kenya. The Great Rift Valley is separated into two districts, North Rift Valley and South Rift Valley. The rift itself is actually a continental ridge that runs from northern Kenya into southern Kenya, and it is part of the larger Gregory Rift, which starts in Tanzania and then goes northwards into Ethiopia. The Cherangani Hills are the most predominant feature, but the valley also contains a chain of volcanoes, many of which are active. The climate here is really special. It's mild compared to many places in Africa, with consistent temperatures never going much higher than a pleasant 28 degrees Celsius, and much cooler at night, very comfortable for sleeping. Number 6. Victoria Falls, Zambia. Described by the CNN as one of the 7 natural wonders of the world, Victoria Falls marks the border between Zambia and Zimbabwe. With a height of 108 meters, it's the 4th tallest waterfall in Africa. However, if you take into account the width of it, at 1,708 meters, and the height, it is actually the world's largest sheet of falling water. On the Zambian side, there are a series of 6 spectacular gorges, most being between 2 to 3 kilometers long, being carved out by the entire volume of the Zambezi River pouring through. You'll often see hippos and crocodiles swirling around here in the turbulence of the waters. Number 5. Avenue of the Baobabs, Madagascar. The Avenue of the Baobabs is an awe-inspiring group of alien baobab trees which line the road between Morondava and Belon et Bihina in Madagascar. It is starting to draw international tourists from all corners of the world, and as such has been designated as protected in Madagascar, as only a few dozen of trees remain due to encroaching agricultural land, making them an endangered species. A prominent characteristic of these trees is their massive cylindrical trunks, which can be over 3 meters across. The bark is incredibly smooth and has a red hue to it. Number 4. Red Sea Reef, Egypt. The Red Sea has been a vital link between the East and West for over 150 years, with the completion of the Suez Canal in 1869, allowing a much quicker trade route for sea vessels trading to and from Europe and Asia. But under this sea lies some truly world-class coral reefs, all highly accessible from along the Egyptian coast, from the Sinai Peninsula in the north to the resort of Hurghada, south of the Gulf of Suez. The Blue Hole is 107 meters deep and has an arc that opens into the reef at 58 meters. However, be warned, this is the most challenging scuba diving spot on Earth. It has taken many lives of inexperienced divers who try to attempt it. Number 3. Mount Kilimanjaro, Tanzania. A dormant volcano near the border to Kenya in northern Tanzania, Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest peak in all of Africa, standing mightily at 5,895 meters. Interestingly, although it lies more or less on the equator, there is snow on the summit year-round, a rarity for Africa. The ascent is for such a high mountain fairly easy due to the slopes being a fairly low gradient. This is why it attracts thousands of climbers each year. However, despite this, it is not to be taken lightly, as altitude sickness is an issue above 2,300 meters, adding an extra challenge. The effort is well worth it though, as when you climb the mountain, you go through a series of diverse flora. It starts with bushland at the bottom, then tropical rainforest, evergreen forest, desert, and alpine regions in between. At the summit, it is much more like an Arctic climate. You would absolutely feel so much diversity in one place. Number 2. Nile River. The Nile is a major north-flowing river in northeastern Africa. It flows into the Mediterranean Sea. The longest river in Africa, it has historically been considered the longest river in the world, though this has been contested by research suggesting that the Amazon River is slightly longer. Let's just keep waiting for the scientists to do the research and decide which is which. The Nile is amongst the smallest of the major world rivers by measure of cubic meters flowing annually. About 6,650 kilometers long, its drainage basin covers 11 countries, which are Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, the DRC, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, Republic of Sudan, and Egypt. In particular, the Nile is the primary water source of Egypt, Sudan, and South Sudan. Additionally, the Nile is an important economic river, supporting agriculture and fishing. Now let's get to the very first on this list. Number 1. Sahara Desert. The Sahara Desert is the hottest desert in the world and spans across 11 African countries, mostly in Northeast Africa. Covering about 9.2 kilometers of land, the Sahara is a beautiful sight to behold, although it is very deadly. If you'd like to know more about the Sahara Desert, let us know in the comments down below. We have come to the end of this video. Did we miss any natural wonder? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching this one, and subscribe for new videos.